Welcome to our GEO Guide, Part 12, the final conclusion.
Glad to be here for the finale.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. So, imagine waking up tomorrow to find that your website traffic has dropped by like 80%.
Which is a terrifying thought.
Right. And not because your site broke or, because you were penalized by Google, but simply because an AI answered all of your customers' questions before they ever had to click your link.
Yeah, that is the storm currently brewing over the internet right now.
It really is. I mean, you look at how generative search experiences are evolving, synthesizing these massive amounts of information right there on the search results page. And, well, if you own a website, you have to wonder what your actual purpose is in this new ecosystem.
Exactly. You start to feel a little obsolete.
Yeah. So the mission for you, the listener today, is to really understand the mechanics of how your digital presence can survive and actually thrive when these AI engines start doing the heavy lifting.
And we have the perfect roadmap for this.
We do. Our source material today is the final sweeping chapter of an essay by author Jörg-Owe. And, Schneppet lays out a very specific blueprint for this exact future.
He really does. And Schneppet tackles that underlying anxiety about plummeting traffic right out of the gate, which I love.
Yeah, he doesn't pull any punches.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
His core premise is this massive paradigm shift. Basically, search is fundamentally changing, but websites are not becoming irrelevant.
They aren't dying.
Right, they are not dying. They are, however, becoming important in a completely different mechanical way.
Okay, unpack that a little bit. What does he mean by a different mechanical way?
Well, think about the last 2 decades. The sole objective was fighting for a spot in a static list of blue links, right?
Right, the traditional Google page one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now, AI-powered search introduces an entirely new layer of synthesis. And Schneppet argues that the way we engineer our sites has to reflect how these machines actually compile their answers.
Okay, let's pull that apart, because moving from, ranking in a list to whatever this new phase is, it feels like a completely different sport.
It is a different sport.
It's like, it's like we used to compete to be the most popular standalone bookstore on the main street.
Okay, I like that.
Right. Like you wanted the biggest sign, the most attractive window display, just to get a human being to walk through the front door.
Yeah, the click.
Right, the click. But now the AI is essentially the professor giving a comprehensive lecture, and we're competing to be the author quoted in the textbook everyone has to read.
Yes.
You want the professor to say, according to the source.
That analogy tracks perfectly with the mechanics Schneppet describes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when a user queries a generative search engine, the system isn't just fetching links anymore.
It's actively reading.
Exactly. It's actively reading multiple sources simultaneously. It's, summarizing the information, cross-referencing claims, comparing the available options all inside its own interface.
It's doing all the homework for you.
Right. And Schneppet points out that this totally alters a website's core job description. You are no longer just a destination.
Your raw material.
Yes. You are competing to become raw material, a vital, cited part of the generated answer itself.
And that is the whole philosophy behind GEO, right?
Generative engine optimization, yes. Yeah. It's about structuring your site to be found, understood, and trusted as a source by a machine intellect.
But wait, let me push back on that for a second. If the AI is just scraping the text to generate its own summary, why does my site structure or page speed even matter anymore?
That's the big question.
Right. Shouldn't I just publish a bare bones text file if an AI crawler is the only user actually reading the page? If it's just about being raw material, traditional SEO seems like a massive waste of time and budget.
Well, a lot of people are making that exact assumption, actually.
It seems logical.
It does, but Schneppet addresses it as a really dangerous misconception. You cannot simply throw out the old rulebook. Schneppet insists that traditional SEO remains the absolute foundation of visibility. And the reason comes down to computational resources.
Okay, like server costs and stuff?
Yeah, search engines, even the AI-driven ones, they still rely on crawlers that operate on a strict crawl budget.
Oh, right.
So if your site is technically a mess, if it lacks internal links, if the server is super slow, or if the architecture is just a labyrinth.
The crawler just gives up.
Exactly. The crawler will simply abandon your site before the generative AI ever gets a chance to process your brilliant text file.
Okay, so going back to the analogy, the AI might be the professor writing the textbook, but if the publisher can't physically open your manuscript because the file is corrupted, you never get cited.
Precisely the dynamic Schneppet is outlining. I mean, he breaks the modern search strategy down into 3 interconnected layers.
Okay, lay them out for us.
First is SEO. That's the technical foundation that ensures a page can actually be accessed, crawled, and indexed without burning through the machine's processing budget.
Make it easy for the robot to read. Go.
Right. Second is AEO, or Answer Engine Optimization.
AEO.
Yeah. And this is the practice of framing the content to directly address specific user queries.
Okay. And then the third layer.
Finally, you have the GEO layer. This is where you optimize the content to be viewed as a definitive, trustworthy source worthy of citation in a generated response.
Wow. Okay, so it's a stack.
Exactly. Schneppad makes it abundantly clear. You do not have GEO without SEO.
You can't skip steps.
No, they are a stack.
That structural stack makes a lot of sense. So SEO builds the foundation, AEO frames the walls by answering the prompt, and GEO puts the roof on by making it citable.
I love that. Yes.
But that brings us to the actual material inside the house. For a long time, the internet rewarded sheer volume.
Oh, absolutely.
Businesses just churned out articles that essentially reworded the top 10 results on Google. It created this massive, unoriginal echo chamber.
A content treadmill.
Exactly. And here's where this shift gets really interesting and frankly precarious for you as a website owner. Replaceability is your biggest vulnerability.
That is the perfect way to put it.
Right. If your page is just an echo, the AI can just summarize the original noise and completely ignore your specific site.
Yes. And Schneppad highlights that harsh reality brilliantly in this chapter. He points out that generative search effectively destroys the value of generic content.
It's completely dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
Basic definitions, vague service descriptions, copied product texts, and, those shallow keyword-stuffed blog posts, they will lose their visibility entirely.
Because the AI already knows all that.
Exactly. The underlying mechanism here is that a large language model can generate basic, consensus-level explanations in milliseconds based on its training data alone.
It doesn't need to look you up.
Right. It doesn't need to cite a live website to tell a user what a mortgage is or how to boil an egg.
So what's the alternative?
Schneppad introduces the concept of citability as the new competitive frontier.
Citability.
Yeah. Every single page on your website must have a highly specific reason to exist beyond just capturing a search volume metric.
Okay, citability sounds rigorous, but what does that look like at a structural level? Like, how do we actually engineer a page so an AI needs to cite it, rather than just relying on its internal training data?
Schneppad actually provides a very tactical list of what makes content strong and citable.
Oh, awesome. What's on the list?
Well, instead of a generic overview, a citable page offers a highly practical checklist, a detailed comparison table, a unique local perspective, a real-world case study, original data, or a certified professional opinion.
Okay, so things that take actual effort to create.
Exactly. And the reason this appeals to an AI goes back to how these models process information. An LLM thrives on structured data.
Like a table.
Right. When you provide a comprehensive comparison table, you're essentially prepackaging relational data for it.
You're doing the heavy lifting for the algorithm.
Yes. You lower the computational cost for the AI to extract and compare facts. And when you provide original data or a unique case study, you are introducing novel information that the AI simply does not have in its baseline weights.
Because it just happened. Or it's your proprietary data.
Exactly. So it is forced to pull from your live page to provide a complete answer.
That is such a fantastic litmus test to run on your own site. Like, you look at your page and ask, would an AI actually need to reference me for this? Or do 50 other sites have the exact same paragraph?
Right, the replaceability test.
Yeah. A vague marketing claim is useless to a machine, but a precise, structured explanation with original data is almost impossible for the AI to ignore.
And that's exactly what Schneppad recommends. He says website owners should regularly audit their pages with exactly that question in mind. Which parts of this page are actually worth citing?
That's a tough question to face.
It is. But if the answer isn't immediately obvious, the page is fundamentally vulnerable.
Okay, let's play out a scenario here.
Sure.
Let's say I do the work. I write the brilliant original case study. I format my data into the most beautiful structured comparison table on the entire internet.
Okay, you're crushing it.
Right, I'm doing great. But wait, my competitor sees my success and they just copy my format. They built their own table. They run their own study.
Which happens all the time.
Exactly. If we both have highly structured, citable content, how does the AI break the tie? I mean, a machine can't look me in the eye or shake my hand to get a gut feeling about my expertise.
That is a great point. And this is where Schneppad's blueprint gets into the concept of trust.
Trust?
Yes, and it's one of the most critical elements of his entire essay.
How so?
Because in a landscape overflowing with AI-generated answers and highly optimized content, Both human users and search systems desperately need signals to verify reliability.
Okay, that makes sense.
And like you said, because a machine cannot shake your hand, Schnepat dictates that trust must be explicitly highly visible in the code and on the page.
Visible trust. Okay, what are the actual signals a machine looks for to determine that I am more trustworthy than the competitor with the exact same comparison table?
Well, Schnepat lists several mandatory trust signals. First, it must be unmistakably clear who is behind the content.
So no more anonymous blog posts.
Exactly. The AI is looking for entities, recognized authors, or organizations.
Okay.
And then, why is that author qualified? Is there a comprehensive bio linked to other authoritative footprints across the web?
Like their LinkedIn or other places they've published?
Right. Also, when was the content last updated? What actual evidence or citations support the claims? How easily can the business be contacted? Are there verified reviews from real customers?
Okay, so a lot of transparency.
Total transparency. And Schnepat includes one that's particularly fascinating. Honest limitations.
Honest limitations? Wait, you mean like admitting what you don't know or explicitly stating who your product is not for?
Yes, exactly that.
That feels so counterintuitive for marketing. I mean, we're taught to sell to everyone, but I can totally see why a machine would love it.
Because it creates semantic markers of balanced analysis.
Oh, wow.
Right. A page that promises the world looks like a marketing brochure, which algorithms are increasingly trained to devalue.
Especially for sensitive topics, I'd imagine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially for what the industry calls your money or your life. Topics, health, finance, legal issues, major safety decisions.
Right.
A page that takes visible responsibility, shows its evidence, and frankly admits its limitations, establishes a much higher confidence score within the AI's processing logic.
This requires a massive psychological shift in web design.
Huge.
Because in the past, putting up author bios, customer reviews, and evidence, we thought of those as conversion tools.
Right, to close the sale.
Yeah, we use them to convince a human being to finally pull out their credit card at the very bottom of the funnel.
And that might be Schnephat's most profound insight in this chapter, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the past, trust was a conversion factor. It was the final hurdle. But in the future of AI search, Schnephat argues that trust is a visibility factor.
A visibility factor.
Yes. It is the prerequisite for getting the AI to look at your data in the first place. If the AI's cross-referencing doesn't detect those visible trust entities, author credentials, the update frequencies, the clear sourcing, you don't even make it into the generated summary.
You're just filtered out.
You are invisible before the human ever types the query.
Trust as a visibility factor. That fundamentally rewrites the priority list for any digital business.
It really does.
But let's take this to its logical, maybe slightly terrifying conclusion.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's say you master all of this. You do it perfectly. You have a rock-solid technical SEO foundation, so the crawler loves you. You have original, structured, highly citable content. Your trust signals are just beaming off the page.
Perfect GEO.
Right. The AI reads your site, it trusts your data, and it cites you perfectly in a beautiful summary right at the top of the search results.
Okay.
The human user reads that summary, gets their answer, and then simply closes the tab. I mean, think about your own browsing habits. If the AI gives you a comprehensive summary of everything you needed to know, why on earth would you bother clicking the link to visit the actual website?
And that is the existential dread keeping website owners awake at night.
For good reason.
Definitely. And Schnepat confronts it head on. Because AI can satisfy so many informational queries directly in the search interface, websites are now forced to offer something beyond information.
So the paradigm shifts again.
The paradigm shifted again. The guiding question is no longer, how do we get the click? The much harder, much more necessary question is, why would a user still need to visit this page after reading a perfect AI summary?
Right. If your page is nothing more than the text that the AI just summarized, there is literally zero incentive to click.
Traffic drops to zero.
Exactly. So how do we engineer an incentive? How do we earn that click differently?
By providing what Schnepat calls active value.
Active value.
Yes. You have to offer an experience or a utility that a large language model fundamentally cannot generate inside a chat window.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, an AI can describe a service, right? But it cannot perform a physical service. It can summarize consulting advice, but it cannot offer a direct, nuanced human consultation.
Right, it's just text on a screen.
Exactly. So Schnepat suggests a heavy pivot toward functional interactive element.
Oh, like calculators. Or interactive comparison tools where the user actually has to input their own messy data to get a result.
Exactly the kind of utilities Schnepat recommends.
Okay.
He also points to booking engines to reserve real-world time slots, downloadable templates that the user can immediately plug into their workflow, highly detailed visual diagrams that text just cannot do justice to, or direct access to expert human support.
It's about utility.
Yes. The underlying strategy is to transition your website from an informational brochure to a practical workflow destination.
A destination.
If your website clearly answers the why, like why the user needs to leave the AI summary to use your calculator, download your template, or book your specific expert, then your traffic is secure.
It's the difference between telling someone how to build a birdhouse and actually handing them the hammer and nails.
That's a great way to think about it.
The AI can dictate the step-by-step instructions perfectly, but your website is the hardware store where they actually get the tools to do the job.
The AI is the guide. You are the fulfillment.
I love that. So where does this leave us in the big picture?
Well, Schnepat brings all these shifting dynamics together in his final message by emphasizing that generative engine optimization is not a temporary patch.
It's not just a quick fix.
No, it is a long-term quality strategy. It is not a checklist of keywords you optimize once and then ignore. The AI models are going to continuously evolve, their ability to synthesize complex data will improve, and your competitors will adapt.
Which means this requires an ongoing operational discipline.
A rigorous discipline. It means constantly maintaining that technical accessibility, relentlessly updating outdated content so your trust signals remain strong, and continuously pushing to provide original, unsimulated value.
It's a lot of work.
It is. But Schnepat's ultimate message to website owners is to avoid panic.
Good advice.
Yeah, the rise of AI search engines doesn't eliminate the need for websites. It just ruthlessly filters out the mediocre ones.
It raises the bar.
Exactly. It actually increases the demand for truly excellent, source-worthy platforms. He advises creators to stop publishing simply because a search volume metric exists.
No more empty calories.
Right. Stop echoing the consensus. Answer the complicated questions, prove your expertise visibly, and engineer pages that a machine is mathematically forced to trust.
That is a remarkably empowering way to reframe this entire technological shift.
It really is.
It's essentially a mandate to elevate the quality of the entire internet. I mean, we've spent the better part of 2 decades trying to game primitive algorithms with keyword stuffing and backlink schemes.
Oh, don't remind me.
But now, the algorithm is finally getting smart enough to demand actual, genuine value.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Schnepat's vision of the future, I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to mull over.
Let's hear it.
Pull up the most important page on your website today, or perhaps a site you visit frequently for your business. If you stripped away all the flashy design, the pop-ups, the slick marketing adjectives, and the stock photos.
All the fluff.
Right, all the fluff. What is the single original piece of knowledge or utility left on that page that an AI would be literally forced to cite in a textbook?
Wow.
What is your hammer and nails? If you look at your page and you can't find one well, it might be time to get to work.
It's a challenging audit, for sure. But adopting that exact mindset is the only way to ensure your digital presence actually thrives in the generative landscape Schnepat describes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us as we navigated the shifting mechanics of search and AI. We highly encourage you to look critically at your own digital spaces through this new lens of citability and visible trust.
Definitely.
For more resources, deeper analysis, and to explore these strategies further, refer to the website blue3w.com. Until next time, keep building trust and stay citable. Goodbye.
Goodbye, and thank you for listening.